It is April 14th, 2026. Yesterday, a fugitive spy chief was detained in Florida while a lethal strike unfolded in the Eastern Pacific. To track these shifting variables, we look past headlines to a mathematical forecasting model designed to anticipate the next fracture. This dashboard shows our certainty index. By assigning strict mathematical probabilities to global crises, we can identify exactly where regional stability is beginning to erode. Right now, the index is hovering at 54%. That 54% score tracks the progress of ceasefire talks in Islamabad. The US and Iran are currently debating a deal to release frozen assets in exchange for safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Last week, this outcome sat at 60%. The probability dropped to 54% following reports that China is preparing to supply Iran with shoulder-fired missiles, known as manpads. President Trump has dismissed the deadlock, claiming the U.S. has already secured a military victory. However, the Gulf states are currently absorbing the physical reality of the stalemate, damaged infrastructure, and severe shipping disruptions. To move forward, the State Department must conduct a risk assessment, weighing those frozen assets against the threat of a Chinese arms transfer. When diplomatic institutions reach a stalemate, the safety of global trade routes is reduced to a statistical toss-up. Moving up the index, we see a 65% probability of a high-profile extradition to Brazil by mid-July. The target is Alexandre Ramagem, a former federal deputy and spy chief tied to the 2023 Brazilian coup attempt. He was just taken into custody by ICE agents in Orlando. While 3 months is a fast timeline for an extradition, Brazil already has a 16-year sentence on the books. This is a sentenced fugitive, not a pending investigation. Coordination between U.S. authorities and Brazil's Supremo Tribunal Federal has been underway for months. The Department of Justice is prioritizing this case to reinforce democratic integrity in the region. Civil society groups in Brazil are also mobilizing to maintain political pressure, acting as a safeguard in case the formal Interpol or DOJ channels begin to stall. This 65% probability shows that when cross-border law enforcement institutions are functional, political fugitives lose their ability to disappear. In the Eastern Pacific, the model spikes. We are forecasting an 82% probability of further casualties from kinetic strikes within the next 30 days. General Donovan at Southcom has reclassified narco-trafficking as an armed conflict. This policy shift replaces traditional law enforcement protocols with the use of kinetic, lethal force against transit vessels. This chart shows the escalation. Since September 2025, these strikes have killed at least 170 people. Because the evidence linking these vessels to terrorism remains classified, critics are calling these extrajudicial killings. The administration views these strikes as a low-footprint method to project power, as the frequency of drug transits has not slowed. To maintain legitimacy, Southcom needs a narrative algorithm task force. This requires a strict 24-hour window to release declassified data after a strike to prove the narco-terrorist link. For the shipping industry, the Pacific Merchant Shipping Association is now mandating total transparency on AIS systems. Commercial vessels must provide verifiable cargo data to avoid being caught in a targeting cycle. Treating the ocean as a war zone without transparent evidence turns a military strategy into an irreversible regional liability. At the peak of the index, we hit 94%. It is a near certainty that we will see a formal international intervention in Haiti by mid-May. The trigger was a tragedy over the weekend. Heavy rain and a sudden panic at an entrance gate led to a stampede that killed at least 30 people, many of them students. The incident occurred at the Citadelle La Ferrière. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a primary symbol of Haitian independence, but it currently lacks the infrastructure to manage massive crowds. Following the loss of life, UNESCO is expected to launch an on-site safety assessment, while the WHO provides technical assistance for emergency medical responses. Public pressure following youth casualties is driving this 94%